Today's video is a beginner-friendly guide to every major MotoGP class: MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, and MotoE. If you've ever wondered what makes these classes different or which one is the fastest, this video is for you. First, let's start with MotoGP. Grand Prix motorcycle racing is the highest class of motorcycle road racing events held on road circuits sanctioned by the Fédération Internationale de Motocyclisme. A MotoGP bike uses a 1000cc engine. That's 1 liter of pure racing power, designed only for competition. These bikes produce over 250 horsepower, which is more than many sports cars. And with that power, they can reach speeds of over 360 kilometers per hour, or about 224 miles per hour. Every MotoGP bike is a prototype, meaning it doesn't exist on the street. Manufacturers like Ducati, Yamaha, Honda, KTM, and Aprilia build these machines from scratch, just for racing. MotoGP is where the best riders in the world compete on the fastest motorcycles ever created. Next, we move down to Moto2, the middle class. Moto2 is designed to develop riders for the top level. Every Moto2 team uses the same engine, a 765cc Triumph engine. These bikes make around 140 horsepower, and they can hit speeds of about 300 kilometers per hour. Because the engines are equal, Moto2 is all about skill, braking, cornering, consistency, and racecraft. This class is where most MotoGP champions sharpen their talent before moving up. Now let's talk about Moto3, the entry-level class. This is where most young riders begin their Grand Prix journey. Moto3 bikes use a 250cc single-cylinder engine, producing about 60 horsepower. They reach top speeds of around 250 kilometers per hour. Moto3 races are famous for huge groups of riders, sometimes 15 or 20 riders fighting within a single second. Because the bikes are light and not very powerful, races depend heavily on slipstreaming and bravery. And finally, we have MotoE, the electric motorcycle class. MotoE bikes use fully electric motors. They make around 150 horsepower and can reach speeds close to 260 kilometers per hour. What makes MotoE unique is the instant torque. Electric motors deliver maximum power immediately, which means the acceleration at the start of a race is extremely strong. MotoE races are shorter, but very intense. Here's a quick, simple comparison of all 4 classes. Now let's take a deeper look at the structure of racing, how riders actually move between the MotoGP classes, because it's not as simple as just winning races. There's a full system behind it. Most professional riders begin in Moto3. This is the entry-level Grand Prix class, where riders are typically between 15 and 18 years old. Teams look for raw talent, late braking, corner confidence, racecraft, and consistency. Success in Moto3 doesn't just mean winning races. Teams also study how mature, stable, and strategic a rider is. If a rider shows potential, even if they're not champion, Moto2 teams start watching. A rider moves from Moto3 to Moto2 when a Moto2 team offers a contract. This usually happens when the rider consistently finishes in the top 10, shows smart race decisions, avoids unnecessary crashes, and has a strong pace across a season. In Moto2, the bikes are faster and heavier. Teams want riders who can handle bigger engines and adapt quickly. Some Moto3 champions struggle in Moto2, while others transform into future champions. Reaching MotoGP is the hardest jump of all. Teams don't choose riders based only on wins, they look at long-term potential. A rider usually moves to MotoGP when they show elite consistency in Moto2, strong fighting ability, in races intelligence under pressure, and adaptability to different tracks and weather. Finishing in the top 3 of Moto2 makes you a big MotoGP candidate. Moto2 world champions almost always get at least one MotoGP offer. Sometimes, MotoGP teams sign riders who didn't even win a Moto2 title, because they see growth potential. For example, Fabio Quartararo never won Moto2, but became MotoGP world champion. Maverick Vinales moved up quickly due to raw speed, not just results. Teams balance data, rider personality, consistency, and long-term talent. So the Grand Prix career ladder looks like this: Moto3 young talent phase, Moto2 development and consistency phase, MotoGP the elite level. Most riders spend at least 2 or 3 years in Moto2 before making it to MotoGP. Now let's talk about MotoE. MotoE is separate. It's not part of the traditional ladder. A rider can enter MotoE at any point in their career, young, old, experienced, or new. It doesn't directly lead to MotoGP, although the experience still helps. And that's every MotoGP class explained in the simplest way possible. If you want more interesting MotoGP videos, make sure to subscribe to Moto Explained. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.